Hello my loves, if you're new here, my name is Lily. I am an anxious girl who loves to read, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. Hello. So this video is going to be a little bit different because I am in fact sick and I haven't been able to film for like 2 weeks because I am sick, and so I can't really film my August wrap up. However, I will be filming my wrap up in this video. So I thought that I would do a flip through of my reading journal for you guys and do my August wrap up in the same video, and then I will add in the clip from my TikTok where I posted my September TBR and how I pulled that from my TBR job, because I did it in a way where I didn't have to show my face because I am sick and I don't feel like getting in front of a camera at the minute. So this is how we're doing it. If you like this reading journal video, I can make more. So I just have this reading journal that I got at Christmas from my dad. It has a lot of pages, the paper doesn't bleed, and it's from somewhere on Amazon. So this was my first attempt at the beginning of the new year in 2025, where I tried to try a new way of doing my opening spread. I did not like this, so I went with this instead, and I went for a bit more of a fantasy journal. I got new pencils from my dad as well for Christmas in 2024, so I really wanted to play around with colors a bit more in this journal, and I think I succeeded, but I'm not sure. I am very happy with my journal, at least, and that's the most important thing. So then we get to my reading goal page, which isn't really like a reading goal page. I'm just now realizing how much I talk with my hands. It's annoying to not be able to like talk with my hands for you guys, but this is gonna be good for me. So this is my very first like tracker, where I track how many books I read. My goal for every year is 100. It's not really a goal, it's just like a marker of hitting 100. Green means it's a physical read, like a physical paperback or hardback, and brown means audiobook, and the beige brown green kind of color means that it was an ebook. Well, Kindle, because that's what I use. So that's how I track my formats of what format I read the books in, which is new for 2025, because before I would just fill them in the same color, these squares. We're getting to my favorite spread to do each year. I love this one, and I again tried a new way to do it this year, and that is my bookshelves, and I absolutely adore this. I did like old-timey windows, and if anyone recognizes what cabin this is in the mountains with the red door, comment down below what book that's from, because it's from a specific book. And the colors again have a meaning. Green is for fantasy, pink is for romance, and purple is for any other kind of book or genre. Then again, the shelf continues. This is how far I've gotten. Again, a glass castle and a castle amongst green hills are also from very specific books, and they're all by the same author. So there's a little hint for you guys. And then since I read over 250 books last year, I went to 250 on my books here. Again, we have a red city with a crescent moon above it from a very specific book. So previous years, I would have just done the book straight, like no decorations, no like drawings in the middle of it. I would have just had straight shelves with a bunch of books on them. I knew that I would have space in this journal because it's so thick that I could use however many pages I wanted, and therefore I wanted to decorate them a bit more, hence the windows. And I'm definitely going to keep doing windows amongst my shelves in my reading journal for 2026, because I absolutely love how this looks. And then we're getting to my reading log, and this is where I'm a bit I do have OCD, so I have a not like the traditional it needs to be clean, dirty OCD. I have a mental OCD, but also I love to track things in multiple different ways because I feel like I have control and it feels organized, and so there are going to be a lot of different trackers in this, but maybe it can inspire someone to do a take on one of them or something. You don't have to do every single one of them. I know I'm overboard. But here I track title, author, and the rating, and I do it in stars up to 5 stars, and I do rate in halves, so it can be 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, not 5.5, because 5 is the top of the ladder, I was about to say. I don't know. So yeah, that's my reading log, and we have a couple of pages for this. We have a couple of more. There's some ASMR for you guys. And there is the end of the reading log, and we get into my book bingo. Now, I don't really know how bingo works. I've never really played bingo except for the one that's at Christmas that like everyone in Sweden plays, because you can win a lot of money and cars and stuff like that. It's amazing. But I just wrote a couple of things down that I just made up or saw on social media when I searched for book bingos, and then I'm just crossing them off as I hit them. I'm pretty sure I've already hit bingo, because I'm pretty sure it's that like you have a row crossed out, so I've hit it a couple of times. So technically I've already won, but I am going to continue until I've crossed out all of them. Another tracker. Is anyone surprised? Here we have my reading tracker. It's in the name, you know, obvious. So here is where I track every day that I read, and so far I have read every day of this year in some way or another. Again, the coloring is the same as in the first spread, where we have brown for audiobooks, green for physical, and the beige brown kind of color for Kindle reads. So it's in the beginning of the year I read a bit more on my Kindle. I've been reading a bit more physically lately. I listen to audiobooks pretty much every single day, so it's a little bit difficult for me to track audiobooks since I read physically or on my Kindle at the same time as I listen to an audiobook, because I listen to it like when I do the dishes, or when I clean, or when I like go to sleep. Like it's a constant thing in my ears. So the only time that I fill out the audiobook color is where I haven't read in any other format that day, or I have listened to an audiobook more than I read physically. Like I did more pages in an audiobook than I did physically or on my Kindle, if that makes sense. So that's why there are less audiobooks, even though I probably listened almost every day to an audiobook. Not every day, because that's a lot, but almost every day. And then we have my 5-star reads tracker, because I was pretty certain that I was not very stingy with 5 stars. I found out by doing this tracker that I definitely am. I am not throwing out 5 stars left and right as I thought I did. Or maybe I'm just stingier this year. I will definitely continue this because I want to see if it was just this year or if it's that always and I just don't know myself. So we have, I should have numbered them so that I could count. But as you can see, this side page is full. So the last page, because I left some empty pages before I start my monthly spreads, the last page is going to be the continuation of this tracker, because I couldn't fit them all on one page, and I don't know why I thought I was going to be able to, but for some reason I did. So out of the like 140 books I have read, you can see that not that many are 5 stars. I'm not stingy, but I'm not like completely giving 5 stars to every single book. This is child or a dog screaming outside. Those are children, and they are annoying me. These are pages that or spreads that I haven't really kept up with. I was going to like write all the new releases that I wanted to get. I was very good with it. Excuse me. I was very good with it at the beginning of the year, and then I've kind of just forgotten. So September is packed full of of new releases that I want to read. Wildcard and Alchemist are already ordered. If It Makes You Happy, which is an autumn Gilmore Girls inspired book, is already ordered as well. There's a bunch of others. October is also going to be full of new releases that I'm really excited for. There were definitely more in July, there were definitely some in August. I just haven't filled it in because I've forgotten. And that happens, and that's okay. But I have also a notes on my phone where I have all of them written down. I just haven't transferred them to here, so I think I've used my phone more than I did this, and that's kind of why this is falling behind. It's the same with book club with my friends. It's a combination of me forgetting and not doing it, and it's also a combination of us forgetting to pick new books and then us not reading them or not talking about having read them when we've read them. So it's kind of just falling behind. So we're kind of we talk about books all the time anyways, so it doesn't really matter that much. But I don't like the way these spreads look either. I was quite unhappy with how they turned out, so I will definitely, if I do this in 2026, I will definitely change the way I have done this because I don't think it looks that good. And then another tracker. We have a non-bookish one, kind of, and a bookish one, and that's books that made me cry. Not that many books. I always knew that I wasn't a massive crier, but I definitely thought that I was going to be a bigger crier than this, because this is not many at all. But this is like I sobbed, like tears streaming down my face, hiccuping, especially like here and here. But some of the books I have like got teary-eyed when read, and they are not on here because this is like making, you can see it on the clouds, this is cry, like cry hard, ugly cry, not like my eyes are watering because it's a little bit sad type of crying, because that's not really crying, is it? That's just being teary-eyed. So yeah. And then we have my 2025 goals, and then we have one of my favorite spreads because I love the way this looks, and that is also new for 2025. I haven't done this before, but it's my 2025 watch list and 2025 playlist, and this will tie into my monthly spreads because I pick from my monthly spreads the favorite from each month. It can be rewatches or re-listens if there hasn't been any new discoveries and I've just been rewatching things. But as you can see, in January it was still Wicked. It came out in December, but I hadn't seen anything better than Wicked, and I rewatched it in January, and so easy. Watched Hamilton for the first time in February. I'm obsessed. Wheel of Time, Handmaid's Tale, Merlin, a rewatch. It will always be amazing. The Buccaneers. June was kind of a bad watching month, so it just, I'm not obsessed with The Buccaneers. I haven't continued it. I stopped on season 3. I don't know if I'm gonna keep watching. And then We Were Liars was just, I can't even rewatch that show. And then it's also the actors that like stood out to me in each of them, if that makes sense. And with playlist, it's the same thing. It doesn't have to be new songs. They can be new for me. They can just be what I listen to the most that month, that overrode the others. October is gonna be difficult to choose one though, because Florence and the Machine is releasing a new album, and Taylor Swift is also releasing a new album. And I fear I might just combust from the excitement of that and not be able to choose at all. Next we have my 25 in 2025, and these are 25 books that I wanted to read in 2025 at the beginning of the year. At this moment in time, there are some that I would want to change because I don't think I'm going to get to them because there are other books that I want to prioritize more. And then we have the book games, and this is like the Hunger Games but with books. Each month I choose a favorite read, I place it in here, and then they are gonna go head to head each month until we have our top 3, and out of them I'm going to pick a winner of 2025. So 2024, I think it was House of Flame and Shadow, that one, and we have some big contenders this year. Like there are some massive books in here, big new releases, amazing amazing reads. So last year when I was done with 2 months, I picked my favorites, and then I did that for each like 2 months that are challenging each other. This year I just haven't been able to pick yet because it's so difficult. Like, I tried to do it with January and February and I was like, I can't choose one. Definitely can't choose one with March and April. May and June are even more difficult, and July and August I think will also be horrible to choose between, because August is almost done and I need to pick my favorite, but I already know what it is. But you will find that out in my wrap up, which is coming at the end of this video. I can't talk, Jesus. Next we have a continuation of the book games, which is 2025 runner-ups. And these are like honorable mentions. They could have been in this one as my favorites, but they didn't make it. But I still wanted to like mention them because there are so many good books that I read, and sometimes I just can't choose. And here I don't have to, so I can just put them in here instead amongst the runner-ups. So I feel like they deserve to be mentioned, and I will definitely keep this. This is also new for this year with the runner-ups. Before I just had like the first winners games, but I will keep this because it's making it easy on myself. And then we have reading the alphabet, which I'm almost done with. X, Y, and Z are gonna be really difficult. J and K are surprisingly difficult. And for some reason, I haven't read a V book. Maybe, no. Because everyone's W's when it's a V. Another spread that I have fallen behind with, series I'd like to reread. You can see a trend where I don't keep up with the spreads that I don't like what they look like. And then we're at the end of the yearly trackers and spreads that span the entire year with the new 5-star reads tracker. I think this is more balanced and more like pleasing to my eye. So yeah, so we have another 2 5-stars right here, which were both read in August. And that brings us, we have an empty spread in case I need to add on something so that we have some extra room. And then we are starting my monthly spreads, which is January. And I love the way that this looks. I wanted to keep on with the like fantasy-esque inspired vibe. I love the like window-esque thing here, and the like shattered glass behind her. So this is, I have the same spreads every month, I just paint them in different ways. So we have my hopefuls list, and then we have my tracking list, which is basically tracking the same things as the yearly reading log, except that this is keeping track of what books I read each month, the dates I read them, and the star rating is the same. So, and then the total. So I read a total of 19 in January, which was incredible. And then we have my favorite quotes spread. This is basically just a favorite spreads. So we have favorite quotes, and then we have favorite book of the month and the runner up. And then last spread of every month is the January watch list and January playlist, which is new for 2025 as well. So, you know, you can see that I rewatched a couple of things. And then we have February. And if you can tell which books these are inspired by, maybe I should just tell you. Maybe it's annoying if I don't tell you. But in the typewriter, we have a Taylor Swift lyric from Love of My Life or Loss of My Life, depending on which one you want to go with. LOML, what a valiant roar, what a bland goodbye. The coward claimed he was a lion, and I'll still see it until the day I die. But if you know which book this is inspired by, you can write it down below. But maybe I should just tell you. The typewriter kind of gives it away with the couple as well. It's Divine Rivals. If you knew, you can pat yourself on the back. Again, the letters that they send each other. We have my hopefuls. We have like a typewriting kind of font. I did my best. And then the books I read. The favorites. We have like the window, the garden. It's love, romance, you know, and then again the letters are my favorites. And then the watch list and playlist. I think this is adorable. I love the way I did this. I do definitely want to do a similar thing later in my journal, but I only have 2 months left that I haven't painted or like done yet, which is November and December. And then we have March, and I think anyone maybe might be able to see what books these are from. And these are basically just, we have Manon, we have Nesta in the House of Wind overlooking the mountains, we have some swords, we have Abraxos, the wyvern, My Hopefuls, books read, and then we have Nesta again in the library, and we have Manon, and I think it's 13 flowers. Is it, have I done it correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, 13 flowers. And then again, watch list and playlist. Didn't track as much in March. And then we're on to April. And this is inspired by Belle from Beauty and the Beast. However, this is also like things that I connect with Addicted Calloway and that entire universe by Kristen Becker Ritchie. So we have like a cobalt color vibe. We have the flowers because the main characters names are, they're named after flowers. I see that there's some discoloring here though. And then this to me is like Audrey Cobalt because she is romantic to her very bone, and she would walk around like that reading. And then again the cobalt colors from My Hopefuls, and then a Greek statue because if you know Elliot and Charlie, even like Beckett a little bit, kind of gives their vibe. And then of course can't do cobalt inspired spread without painting chess in some way or another. So these are my favorite quotes and my favorite books. And then playlist and watch list, and we're keeping with the chess theme. I love how this looks with the like checkered below. And then we're going into May, and this was just like, I just wanted to paint women in dresses in a fantasy inspired way, kind of. So that's just basically what this spread is. It's not my favorite, but I also don't dislike it. This is probably my favorite from this month because I love the smaller checkers. I love the yellow and the green, and just, I don't know, I think it's really balanced. And then we're going into June. June is always like horses for me for some reason. It's the beginning of summer and it just gives cowgirl vibe. And I love this where you have the letters behind whatever I paint in front. And again, you can see every month we're kind of keeping with the window vibe, so that is kind of a red thread. Not my best horses I've ever done, but they work. You can see what they are at least. So we have My Hopefuls and books read. And then my favorites, again, not my best horses. I rarely colour horses when I paint horses, so that was a little bit of a challenge for me, but it was fun. That's just all this is supposed to be. And if you can tell what horses where these are from, you have taste. And then we're in July, which is my birthday month, and so I always try to go for something that's like my vibe. And this text is,
hello.
It's over. I told my wife.
Who is this?
which is a Samantha quote from Sex and the City, and I just felt like it matched the vibe of this woman lying here, just having showered in sunglasses apparently. But this is one of my favorite spreads. I love the way this looks. I love the colors. I think it's balanced and it just looks really good. I've never painted like coffee or lemons or croissants, so that was really fun to do. and I think I managed quite well. It's not bad. And again, I'm obsessed with this like big checkered vibe. I also love that I did the text behind and then like mix the colors, and I don't know, I just really like it. And that takes us to August, which is where we're at the end of at this very minute, and one of my favorite books of this year. I love the way that this is probably my favorite spread of them all. This month turned out so freaking well. And again, comment if you know where this book is from or where this is inspired from. This is inspired by fan art that I found for this book as well. And this is the most mixed painting mediums that I used, and I definitely think I'm going to continue doing that because this is Ohuhu markers, black pencils, like lined normal pencils, and some watercolor pencils, except that I haven't used water with the colors, I've just used the pens. So the water is all pens and not Ohuhu markers. And then I use some other markers that I have in my bag that I don't know where they're from for like the lighter grey. And so yeah, I'm definitely going to use more mixed mediums when I paint in the future. And that was my attempt at a, I was about to say gremlin because I lost the name for what they're called. Not golem. What are they called? Gargoyles. For the gargoyle. He's not perfect, but I think he's cute. He's a bit lopsided, maybe, but I like him. And I have read all of these this month except for The Unbroken, which is probably time that I unhaul from my shelves because it's been there for like more than 4 years and I still haven't picked it up. But I'm still holding out hope that I'm going to read it one day because I might love it, so I can't really get rid of it. I just need to grab myself by the throat and go read it. But for some reason I just keep putting it off. I have finished another book today that I haven't filled out yet, and then I have 100 pages left on my current read, which I will also finish today. So I need to add those two later today. It's like midday, so I will fill that in tonight, and then I will also fill in the next spread and finish this month and wrap it up. I always wrap it up on the last day of the month or the first day of the new month, depending on the timing. But I love this spread. Again, I think it's really pretty. Some of my favorite quotes from this month, my absolute favorite, is from The Silence of the Girls, which I adored when I read it. I'm obsessed, and it's the opening line of that book, which is so iconic. And it goes, "Great Achilles, brilliant Achilles, shining Achilles, godlike Achilles, how the epithets pile up. We never called him any of those things. We called him the Butcher." It had me hooked. And then my like first big arc that I had the honor of reading was from Burn Bright, and this is a quote from Burn Bright. A sneak peek, the book comes out on the 3rd of September. If you have read the entire Addicted Calloway series, you should definitely pick up Burn Bright. It's amazing. But you can also read it if you haven't read any of Krista and Becca Ritchie's other books. And I do think that it would be an amazing gateway into this universe. Because it was, I knew that was going to happen at one point or another. Let's hope you can stand now. But the quote is, "Courage doesn't exist without fear. We all have to confront things that scare us at some point." How true is that? And then again, I haven't filled out the favorite or the runner-up yet, but I love these drawings. I think they're amazing. And then the playlist and watch list. Now I could end this here and do the wrap up, but I'm just gonna flip through September and October because I have already finished drawing them. And I didn't draw that much, but this is September. I went for a fairy vibe because we are going into the autumn month beginning with September, or the autumn months because they are multiple. And I love autumn, and then I started bringing in some scrapbooking, which I haven't done before because, as you've seen, I've like hand drawn all of them. But I just wanted to play around with a new way of doing it. So I had some stickers, had some scrapbooking papers, and it became this. October is of course witchy. I always choose like a general theme, like fairies, witches, or a certain book, and then from that I choose a color scheme, and here was green and purple with a little bit of pink thrown out, maybe thrown in. Hello, not thrown out. I love the cat. I think it's so cute. And then because I had a painting left that I wanted to do, I did another spread which hasn't been in any of the other months, but because it's October is like the most autumn month for me, so I wanted to paint this big, not big, but it's quite large compared to my other drawings, which I think, like, not witch, but witch, like W-I-T-C-H. She is a witch, not witch, which is an amazing Florence and the Machine song. Anyway, I did the autumnal watch list spread in October, and as you can see, I've already started on it. I've already finished Gilmore Girls. I always start Gilmore Girls too early when I always start in August because I want to jump ahead into autumn, so I never actually like watch it in autumn, which is kind of sad. This page also came loose, which isn't great for my rating of this journal. I am going to glue this page down onto this page. We are jumping into the wrap up, and I'm gonna do rapid fire yes, no, maybe, just so that you don't have to like stare at this boring thing for forever. The first book that we read, I started in my 24-hour readathon, which the video is already up for, and that is Nanny for the Neighbors, and I gave that 3.5 stars, and I would say yes. If you want to get into reverse harems, but not have like a complex magical system or world building at the same time, because a lot of the reverse harems that I read are fantasy books. But if you're not a fantasy reader but you want to get into reverse harems, I would definitely recommend Lily Gold's books. She's very good at having all of the love interests being their own people and all of them having their own character arcs. The next book is an audiobook, which was The Witcherlies, and that's like Witches meets Pride and Prejudice, and I'm going to say yes. And next we have our first like physical read, and that is the second book in the Devil's Backbone series, Watch Your Back by Tate James, and I gave this 5 star. It was 5 stars, hello. This is a reverse harem series. I am obsessed with Tate James's other reverse harem series, which is the Madison Kate series. I highly recommend Tate James's books if you want to get into reverse harems, especially if you're a dark romance reader. But this was amazing, 5 stars. I have ordered the next book. It will arrive when it is released, which I think is in September, but it might be October. I'm not 100% sure, but I can't wait for the next book. Like, the cliffhangers that Tate James leaves you on, it's so mean, but it's so good. And next we have a audiobook, which was Her Feral Beasts. This was really the month of reverse harems for me, because this is another reverse harem, and this was really good. This was a fantasy reverse harem. We had shapeshifters. She had, I think we're up to 5 love interests. So in Tate James's books, it's more often than not 3 love interests, and the romance between them before we get into the reverse harem. Like before the book Reverse Harems, it's a slow burn. This was less of a slow burn, but it was definitely tension filled. As you can see, I listened to the second book, Her Rabbit Beasts, as well. Those were the only 2 that existed as audiobooks, but I will continue this series, except I'm gonna get them on my Kindle. So yes. Next we have another physical read, which was a new release in August, and that is Glorious Rivals. I love the Inheritance Games books. I love the games, the mysteries. I love the other series that Jennifer Lynn Barnes has written, which is the Natural series, where they are like Criminal Minds vibes, FBI, teenagers solving murders. So good as well. This is the continuation of the Inheritance Game series that starts after the 3 main books in the Inheritance trilogy. We start with the Brothers Hawthorne, which sets off this continuation of that series. 100%, yes. But you should read the other books first, because this is a continuation. If you jump straight into this, you will be so confused. Next, we have The Things We Water, which is a 5-star read. This is by Mariana Zapata. I absolutely adore Mariana Zapata. She is such an amazing writer, and this is her first fantasy-esque romance. This is a romance novel set in our world with fantasy elements, and I would say that it's kind of like paranormal romance, because we have shapeshifters and magic and a Sasquatch and a cute, adorable little puppy who we don't know what sort of magical being he is, but he's definitely not a normal puppy, but he is adorable. And this was everything. This was so good. Like, the romance, the slow burn, the plot points, the mysteries, the like, the just the magic in our normal world. Like, I wish that our world looked like this. 5 stars. This is my favorite book of this month. And next we have that because I read these books back to back and they were both 5 stars. And next we have Burn Bright, which is the other book that was a contender for being my favorite book of the month. This, as I said earlier, this is the continuation, but also the start of a new series, which is the Cobalt Empire series, but it follows the timeline and the same characters from the first Addicted Calloway series and then from the Like Us series, and this follows after that. So if you want to read them in order, you should start with the Addicted Calloway series and then the Like Us series, and then jump into the first book in the Cobalt Empire series. I was lucky and honoured enough to get an ARC. I died when I got the email that told me that I would receive an ARC of this, and oh my god, it delivered on everything. 5 stars, highly recommend, yes, yes, yes. I said I was gonna do rapid fire yes or no, and this is not rapid whatsoever. Next we have Air, which is, I didn't know, which is just me not doing my research. This is in the same world as the An Ember in the Ashes series, which I am obsessed with. So yes, you can read it if you haven't read the An Ember in the Ashes series. It's gonna be so much better if you have read the An Ember in the Ashes series. Sabata here does it again. She can never go wrong. Yes, absolutely recommend this. And then we have Promise Me Sunshine. I was hesitant going into this because I didn't think I was going to love it. I thought I was going to like it, but I actually really love this. This happily surprised me. I don't know why I was skeptical going into this. I don't have anything to base that off because I've only heard good things, but that was just a feeling within myself. But this really handled grief and some deep subjects, and that was really interesting to me. So yes. And then we have, I've spoken about it before, Silence of the Girls. Yes, 100% yes, especially if you like Greek mythology. Even if you don't like Greek mythology, you should read this. It's a huge thinker. It's really heavy and dark, so if you get triggered by essay and things like that, you probably shouldn't, like, you should look up trigger warnings first and see if it's for you. But it was heavy, it was dark, but it really got you thinking, and I couldn't sleep after I read this. This book has haunted me. It still haunts me, but in the best way, and I can't wait to read the sequel, which is The Women of Troy. And then we have a new release, which I was so excited for, and that is Love Arranged, which wraps up the Lakefront Billionaire series, I believe, and this was so good. It was a bit long. There were moments that could have gone a bit faster, or where I just felt like the pacing slowed down a bit, but other than that, I really love the love story. I love this small town. I love the vibes. I love the characters. I love the plot. Highly recommend. Yes, yes, yes. But it wasn't a 5-star read just because it was slow at moments. Oh, we have a couple of rereads that I haven't spoken about, which is Check and Mate, and then we have The 7 Year Slip, which I finished today. Those are 2 rereads. They are both 5-star reads. absolutely love them. Highly, highly recommend 100%. And then we have my current read, which I will be finishing today because, as you can see, I have like barely 100 pages left, and that is Silver Cloak. This is highly spoken about on BookTok. I feel like that's why I bought it. I have read One Our Infinite Fates by L.K. Stephen. I didn't know that she was the same author when I picked this up, because I didn't keep track. I liked Our Infinite Fates. It was fine. There were some things that I didn't like about it. This is an adult romance though, whilst Our Infinite Fates is YA, I believe. And there are definitely massive differences in both the writing and of course the stories, because they are two completely different stories. And this is way more my speed. It's looking to be a 4-star. I am having a great time. The magic system is really interesting. The romance is really good. The plot is interesting. There are just some things that have me like asking questions of like, how does this actually work for the plot? Like, why isn't this, you know, like there's some things that just don't really work in my head with like, maybe it's with the world building, but other than that, I am absolutely eating this up. It's a really good fantasy. And yes, I do recommend. We didn't have any maybes and we didn't have any no's. So, a good reading month. Like a really good reading month. That was it, really. Now, after this, I am of course going to put in the TikTok video that I made where I picked my September hopefuls. So stick around, watch that if you want to see what I'm going to be jumping into in September. And this is our reading journal flip through and August wrap up all in one from one sick reader. So hopefully I will get healthy soon, or get better enough that I can get back to filming, because I have a couple of videos that I'm thinking that I want to do. Wish me well, everyone, that I will get over this cold. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more reading journal videos, please like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment if you want. And as always, have a nice week, a nice day, a nice month. That was in the wrong order. Be kind to each other always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!